Happy Tuesday, Run Tribe Bike community and the Everyday Athlete podcast community. Welcome to our Fireside Chat on the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network. We have a special guest today. We will be talking with the founder of 100 Mile Club, Kara Lubin. Kara is more than just the founder of the 100 Mile Club. She is a mother of two, an educator and an advocate, as well as a social entrepreneur. Beyond that, and by her own description, is the slowest ultra runner ever. So we're going to have to chat about what exactly that's supposed to mean. Before we bring Kara on the show, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the Everyday Athlete Podcast Network on your favorite podcast platform. There are 9 shows to choose from with various stories and hosts. I'm sure you'll find one or all of them to your liking. Let's bring Kara onto the show and talk to her about 100 Mile Club, social entrepreneurship, and balancing it all. Hi, Kara. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am fantastic. And my Tuesday gets better because I get to chat with you for a little bit here.
Yay. Same. What an honor.
So before we get started, we like to ask each of our guests a little icebreaker question, which is pineapple on pizza, yay or nay?
Absolute yes.
Oh, no. Show's over, folks.
Sorry.
Thanks for showing up.
I like a little sweet with my cheese. It's fruit and cheese. I mean, it's like, I'm sorry. It's my opinion. I do love it though. I love sweet with cheese, like fruit and cheese together. So that's kind of, I think, where it comes from.
Like I can get behind, a cheese and cracker with some fig jam on it. Like I'm cool with that. But the idea of putting pineapple on my pizza, I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New York City kid. So I'll preface that. Like the idea of doing that is out. But I'm happy to have you at my table while you eat the pineapple on the pizza while I eat straight cheese.
That's awesome. I mean, the fact that you're a New Yorker, it makes perfect sense. It does, because you guys are such purists when it comes to your pizza. And
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect that.
I'm always surprised when I do chat with a New Yorker who says yes to pineapple on pizza. I'm almost always surprised. Like I'm like, what pizza joints were you going to as a kid that served that normally? Because it's not typical.
They hung out with some Californian.
Yeah.
At some point, right?
Here's my follow-up question that'll get me a Pulitzer Prize one day. Are you the kind of person who says yes to pineapple on pizza and only pineapple on pizza, or does it have to include like ham or jalapeno or pepperoni or something else in addition to?
I'm going to tell you the grossest thing. I like pineapple with black olive.
Okay. I can get down with some black olives.
Oh, good. And yeah, because I don't really eat a lot of meat, especially, after all the cancer stuff. I don't eat a lot of ham. And oh, shoot. Sorry about that.
You're okay.
But yeah, I like a little pineapple black olive, but I can take it plain too. So.
Perfect. Well, hey, I want to dive into this conversation now that we've broken the ice. On your Instagram account,
yes,
it says social entrepreneur.
Yes.
And the moment I read that, like a million different ideas popped off into my head. And so I want to know what your definition of social entrepreneurship is. What does that mean to you?
Gosh, okay. So let me preface this by saying I never called myself a social entrepreneur until I won an award that I didn't understand, which was an award, it was a Cal State San Bernardino does these, an entrepreneur award every year. And I was nominated under the category of social entrepreneurship. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. What does that even mean? And I kind of didn't really answer the email. I didn't get it. I was busy. At the time, it was just me running the program, and I had hundreds of schools, and I was just like, they're like, you've been nominated for, this award, whatever. And suffice to say, they had to call me to help me fill out the paperwork because I just didn't understand the importance of this award. So anyway, then they brought me in for this interview. I went to the interview. I still didn't understand how important it was, but there were people there that seemed very important. And so I did the interview, and then they were like, you're a finalist. I'm like, that's cool. They probably give that to all the girls, So I showed up and I got dressed, and there's more to this story, but it is comical. And so I went to the thing, and I was up against all these amazing people, like people who provided free internet to this whole like cities and just amazing people. And I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. They brought me in. How nice. And I'm sitting at the little dinner table in my formal outfit. And then they're like, oh, the category of social entrepreneur. And here are the categories, blah, blah, blah. And the winner is Kara Lubin of the 100 Mile Club. And I was like, what? I have to talk now? I had no plans. I had no speech plan. I didn't get it. So I went up and I made a speech and it was fine. And once I got through it, I understood. I'm like, I am a social entrepreneur. I use that sort of entrepreneurial spirit to create programs and things that help the public or help people in general or make the world a better place. And I've always been that way. When I was young, and I told this during the interview, actually, when I was being interviewed for this award, and I don't know, I just was talking, but I used to show horses when I was younger, and we'll talk about that, I think, a little bit later. And I was able to go to these horse shows, and they were very fancy, whatever. And I noticed that there were people in my neighborhood who weren't able to go to horse shows, girls who love to ride horses, mostly girls. And I put on a horse show in my backyard for these girls who never had a chance to go to a horse show. And I had my trainer, she was the judge, and we had classes, and it was just this whole thing. And I remember telling my mom, I want them to experience this. And so it goes that far back where I see things in the world that could happen to make people see what they're capable of or what maybe they don't see as possible. And then I provide that. And so 100 Mile Club was born. That wasn't the first time I had done something like that. But again, I was young when I used to do all those little shenanigans. But so being a social entrepreneur doesn't mean that I'm out to make $1 million. In fact, quite the opposite. You know, you're using that entrepreneurial spirit to make the world a better place. So,
Yeah.
you know.
We use a phrase around our offices, and by office, I mean like dining room table,
Sure.
is we don't need to be bank account wealthy and time poor. We just need to be bank account stable and time rich, because we want to spend it with people and
Right.
help them and be around community and develop deeper connections. So I totally understand that. Before I go on to my next question, Coach Kurt Madden on Instagram says hello to you.
Hi.
And I wrote this note down because you said you had to give an acceptance speech at
I
the
did.
awards. Was it as long as Adrian Brody's at the Oscars, which
God,
set the record by over 40 seconds?
no, it was, I don't know where it came from, but it was short, it was sweet, and it was appropriate. And I thanked everybody that I needed to thank. And I don't know, something took over my body because I had no clue. I was like, this amazing woman who gives piano lessons to children in Palm Springs and, you know, all of these things and these programs. And I just was in awe of all these people. And then they called my name and it was wild. And then I became a judge. So being able to see other social entrepreneurs and other entrepreneurs in general, I was a judge for the awards program for many, many years. And
I mean, so
yeah, it's fun.
You were nominated for 100 Mile Club for social entrepreneur, but you didn't think that you fit into that category. What did you think 100 Mile Club was when you started it? What did you think you were going to do? Like, you know, where did it come from?
God, that's a big question.
Yeah.
So I'm a teacher. I'm a 4th generation public educator. And my son is a teacher now. So we have 5 generations of teachers in my family. And when you're a teacher and you're a good teacher, you just kind of, you invent things like all the time. You're like an octopus. You're just grabbing at things all the time in your classroom, things that work. And 100 Mile Club was kind of born out of that. And it was 1992. I was a 2nd-year teacher. And what I noticed about the kids my first year, excuse me, is that they were very disconnected from school. They were very unhappy at school. They didn't really care about being there. And everything that I was asking them to do was very, very difficult. I was teaching a non-categorical special day class. So it was kids with learning disabilities, behavior disorders, autism, traumatic brain injury. I mean, these kids needed specialized academic instruction, and I was there to give it to them. And so every time I was asking them to do something, it was hard for them. But I needed to give them a reason to show up, something that they could hang their hat on immediately. Like, I'm going to come for 100 Mile Club, but then this lady's going to make me do other things, right? So I love the Olympics. I love the Olympics. I don't necessarily love once the sports start. That's not really my thing. What I love is the journey there. The opening ceremonies, the parade of athletes, like that whole thing where people are just working so hard to get there and they're all working for one thing, right? They're
Mhm.
working for that gold medal. Some of them make it, some of them don't. But either way, they have learned a lot about themselves and the people around them along the way. And so 1992, in my opinion, was one of the best Summer Olympics ever. You had the dream team, you had Derek Redmond out there, tearing his, oh God, I don't remember where he tore
Yeah.
some muscle, and his dad came out of the stands
Yep.
and walked him across the finish. I mean, it was just this very, very high spirited. In Lithuania, and we're a basketball family, and my great uncle is actually considered the father of Lithuanian basketball.
Oh, no
Um,
kidding.
no kidding. And he was on the very first Olympic basketball team. So I love the Olympics, right? So I wanted my kids to experience that journey, that that yearning for a gold medal and working hard for it all year long. And so I went to school the first day and I'm like, God, what can these kids do to earn a gold medal? And I still really hadn't figured it out. But I was like, I know. They can move. They can run. These are active kids, ADHD. They're super hyperactive, super impulsive. And I was like, okay, you guys, we're going to run 100 miles this year. I literally was like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And you know what, too? When you guys get to, and I'm making this up, 25 miles, I'm going to get you a shirt. And I'm just talking, just talking. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And I'm walking my kids out to run their first mile. I'm like, how in the world am I going to get shirts for these kids? I have no idea. But I have 25 miles figured out. So awesome. So we went out there and we stretched and we ran our first mile. And darn it, if those kids didn't come back in standing taller, more proud, ready to run another one. We put a little in schools, we have incentive charts everywhere, right? Little charts. And I was like, okay, check, check. That's your first mile. Now you just have to do 99 more. Can we do that again tomorrow? Oh my God. I'm like, yes, absolutely. So we did. I had one kid get close to 25 and I'm like, oh God, how am I going to find shirts? I just didn't know. So I went to this store called Miller's Outpost. I don't know. Do you remember Miller's Outpost?
Nope. I don't
No.
know it.
Miller's
I'm
Outpost
not.
is kind of a Southern California staple. They sold Vans, Levi's, T-shirts, and bandanas. That was it. And I went there and I got all the clearance shirts and they were massive. And if this were a presentation, I probably would pull up this picture of this kid in this, 4X t-shirt that I puffy painted, the same design that is on our shirts today. And what it did was it was the same kind of incentive chart. I don't know, it's kind of backwards, but
Yeah, you could see it though.
so when they see 25, once they hit 25, you mark the 25, 50, 75, and 100. And what that allowed me to do and other people on campus was to see their success. So a child is walking around in their shirt and they're like, you see how many miles I have you seen it? And a lot of these kids won't talk. So you can flip them around and see how their shirts look and go, you've run 50 miles. That's so good, buddy. And then they'll open up to you. So I was very strategic what I was doing, but I didn't really know what was going to happen with it.
So many questions. So I interviewed one of your former participants in the 100
Patty,
Mile Club. Yes. And she talked about that shirt as if she just wore it yesterday, and
oh
the
yeah,
importance behind the shirt and the ability to check off your progress. And
uh-huh.
so the question I'll ask of you is, as you're going through this process of figuring it all out,
Yeah.
and you check the first student's
His
25-mile.
name was Danny, by the way.
Awesome, Danny! Congratulations.
Danny Boylan.
Could you see the confidence
Yes.
like go to the next level? And
I
then could you see other students say to themselves, I want to be like that too?
100%. 100%. And at that point, so I'm a special education specialist. So what I do first and foremost in my own head is equity. Like how can I make sure that everybody's having the same experience at their own level, right? So even with 100 Mile Club with these shirts, and this is just this year's shirt. So every shirt is a different color. It changes every year, whatever. We've never duplicated a color. This is this year's. I want them to be able to become part of a team once they earn that shirt. So once these kids earn that shirt, you wear it, and now you guys are teammates. And even though Danny's running his 100 and, Vanessa's running her 100, we're all taking these journeys, but we're doing it together. It's an ultra marathon. It's an ultra marathon. We're just doing it over the course of a year instead of, 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever. And so, yeah, once the first kid gets their shirt out of school, it's like kids are just like, I see the shirt. I would like the shirt also. And they'll tell you, I'm at 37 or I'm at 23. I just need 2 more miles and I've got my shirt. Are you giving out shirts on Friday? Yes, I am. I've got your shirt. It's in my closet, but you need to hit 25. And I'm really, really, tight. Like, you run 25 miles or you don't receive your shirt. You sign up, that's great, but you got to get to 25. And man, once they do, that's it. Then they get to 50 and they'll say they will not check their own shirts. They're like, you can use my 50. Like, they come to me during their free time, like recess, they're like knocking on my door. Hey, Miss Lubin, you need to sign my 50. Can you do it right now? And I'm like, oh, for Pete's sake. Yes, absolutely. Go get a marker. And I call it assume the position. And because the girls have really long hair, so they'll pull their hair and then they touch their toes and it turns their back into like a little table. And then I mark their shirt. And they'll just turn around and drop. And I said, oh, you want me to mark your shirt? But they're so serious about it. And they care so much, and rightly so. Can you imagine being a 5-year-old kid running 100 miles? That's 1/5 of your life that you're committing to this project.
Yeah.
Literally 20% of the life you've already lived that you're committing to doing this thing. And it is life changing for a lot of our kids.
100%. I want to talk about that in a second, but I need to get my hands on one of those shirts because I'm racing Javelina 100 at the end of this year. And the color of this year's shirt is orange and blue, and I'm a Mets fan. And my wife goes to Pepperdine, which is also orange and blue. So there's a lot of connection here. So I got to get my hand on one of those shirts. So
I will reach out to the office.
Every 25 miles, every time I come through, I'll check it out.
I'll have them send you one. Oh, it's so fun. We have kids. I had a little girl one year. She ran 1,419 miles in a year. So she went to outside events. We sanction events and community events where kids can earn miles outside of school, but they're all being supervised by a coach. And she went to all of them and she ran over 1,419 miles, I think.
Wow.
Is her number. And her entire shirt. There's a picture on my Instagram or on the 100 Mile Instagram of her shirt, and it's just covered. And then our Race Across USA team wore them too. And they ran, over 3,000 miles from Huntington Beach to Washington, D.C. And they marked their shirts. So their shirts were just like covered with ink and numbers. And the kids are so funny because if they see an adult wearing a shirt, they're like, oh yeah, it's hard, huh? Like, they don't admire the ultramarathon kids the ultramarathon adults as much as they identify with them. And I didn't know that would happen. So the first time I brought the ultra runners together with my kids, I thought, oh, they're going to just deify these adults. They're going to just think they are it on a stick. And they're going to want, all this stuff from these runners. And really, they didn't. They were just like, yeah, I know it's hard, right? Let's run. Like, they didn't understand that, these adults are doing it in, some of them are doing it in 14 hours. You're doing it in 10 months. But for them, the journey is the same.
Yeah, 100%.
And the emotions that they go through are the same. A lot of my kids get to 80 miles just like you do in an ultra, and you're like, this is some BS. I'm not doing this anymore.
Yes.
Why am I doing this?
I will forever say that miles 60 to 80 are the hardest of a 100-mile race.
It's horrible.
Like, you've done 100K and it's like, I got 40 more miles to go. Why are we here?
You get mean. I get so mean. I got so mean the year that I did mine, and I hissed at a girl like a cat. I just went, and I thought afterward, I just cried. I'm like, that was so mean. Why did I do that? Like, because she was clean and she had just gotten there and she was all happy. And I was like, You don't get to be happy.
You're begging for calories at this
I was
point.
so cranky. Anyway, whatever.
Shout out to Coach Kurt Madden, who says it was great to run the 100 miles with the 100 Mile Club. And Scott Millman has given me the task of I need to run my 25 miles before I can get my shirt. Thanks, Scott.
Yes,
I'll be
Scott,
on
word,
that.
100%. You have to
What?
you have to put it on at Javelina. Wait, you said you're talking about Javelina, right? Yeah, so when you run
Yes,
Javelina, once you hit 25, you can put this
absolutely. Well,
on.
we'll have it under our run, try, bike 10 at the
I
course.
love it. I love it.
So one of the things that you brought up, and I actually had a question about this,
Mhm.
is the impact on the adults of
Mm.
watching the kids go through this process
Mhm.
of getting their 25, 50, 75, 100 miles. And I know that you actually host a 100-mile event. This year it's May 2nd and 3rd. And as I was going through your website, I looked at the board of directors that you have, and I just keep thinking to myself, like the impact on the adults.
Mm.
I wonder if the impact on the adults of the kids accomplishing these goals and tasks, is it bigger on them as opposed to the impact that the adults have on the kids and encouraging them to continue to pursue the dreams?
I I think the adults watching the kids do this thing is also life-changing for the adults, because a lot of people, I mean, I'm in education, so I'm around kids most of my day, all day, every day. These kids do not leave me. They're with me all the time. And I think we tend to, as adults, think, oh, these are kids. They don't, kids should be seen and not heard. Go do your thing. These kids are, all they like is video games. And that's not true at all. You put a challenge in front of these kids or a kid, and they'll look at you first like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Because it's very, very like attractive. Oh, you're going to run 100 miles this year, buddy, and I'm going to help you do it. And we're going to do it together, and we're going to help each other. And once they get locked in, they'll go to this event or like Run for Kids, or they'll go to a community event, or even just running at school, and nothing will stop them. And then, some adults will come out to either help at Run Group or to come to Run for Kids, and they see these kids, and these kids are whew, laser focused. They're like, I need to run 6 miles today. No, you don't understand. I need to run 14 miles today. And I have had kids, whose parents were trying to pull them off the track because they needed to go to X, Y, or Z, and they were bawling because they had a goal. So we're not only teaching these kids how to, do a thing from beginning to end, but we're teaching them how to set a big goal and then smaller goals, and to not let anything get in their way, and to teach them about grit and determination and teamwork and all those things that go into being like a good human who can hopefully go on to become one of those adults that's again inspired by the kids. It's very cyclical. The kids
Mhm.
inspire the adults inspire the kids. Sometimes you'll see kids running together with some of the ultra runners, and they bond, and their parents will connect on social media, and they're friends forever. It's just like an ultra. You know how you like bond? I think
Yes.
I think we bond over shared misery sometimes. And like I said, yeah, I'm slow. And so people pass me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I will not pass you, but you will pass me several times on this course. So just say hi, or whatever. And same thing with the kids. These runners will pass them, especially at Run for Kids, because it is a very short loop, because we want to be able to see our kids, whatever, we
Yeah.
want to be safe. But people come out to run it, and they know what they're getting themselves into, and it is inspiring.
I tell you that. So I've run 8 100 milers, and
Good job.
thank you. The idea of doing a 1 mile loop was always something I couldn't wrap my head around. And then Lori did her 100 miler at Blue,
Mm,
and I went out with her. I paced her a number of times, and it was amazing. Like the ability to see the same people, camaraderie, fist bumps, high fives,
right.
consoling if necessary. It was amazing, and it has totally changed my perception of looped events.
These ones. These kind
Yeah.
of, yeah. Yeah. Ours is the course that we normally use is a half mile,
Okay.
and it's wild. But again, it's flat and we can see the kids. So you can have a kindergartner or a 4-year-old out there running and mom can see them even though they're way on the other side.
Yeah.
Gives the kids a sense of independence
So
that they can.
talk to me a little bit about the event. It's taking place on May 2nd and 3rd
Mhm,
of
mhm.
this year. Where is it located? How do people get into it? How do kids get into it if they're not part of or do they have to be part of 100 Mile
No,
Club already?
no, it's wide open. It's totally free for kids to come, but kids can also sign up for the 5K or any other event that if they want to do the 6 hour, they can sign up for the 6 hours. It's fine by us. What Normally we hold this event at Auburndale Intermediate School in Corona. We've held it there for many, 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 many years. Unfortunately, the school is under major construction right now. They're putting in solar panels and new buildings, and it's crazy. So we had to move it to another school called Cesar Chavez Academy. And it's a great course. It's actually where we originally held Run for Kids. And we called it Walk for Kids originally. But then I was like, these kids aren't walking, they're running. And so we changed it. So it's back at Cesar Chavez Academy in Corona. And you can find all about it on the 100 Mile Club website, 100mileclub.com. And then if you click on events, I'm pretending like I'm on the website. You click. Can you tell I'm a teacher? I'm like,
Yes.
click. You click on it, and then there's a drop down, and it says events, and then it'll say Run for Kids, and then it'll say ultras. So there's a race for every single human, from a 5K all the way to 24 hours, 100 miler, you know, 12 hour, 6 hour. Like this is a no excuses event. And if you're training for another event and you're just looking for something to get some miles on your legs and to see how you do, this is the place to do it because it's very affordable. And what we do is we ask you to fundraise for sponsorships for our kids for the following year. The entry fee is extremely low compared to other 100-mile races. And it's just a very different type of race as far as what we're doing because we are kids first. And so we ask that just you're going to be around kids. So, you know, those behaviors are things that we ask you to kind of keep behind you. And you get out there and you are modeling. They're watching you. And
Yeah.
so you're testing yourself and you're getting those miles out. You're testing out some nutrition because it's a small loop. So you can play around with some nutrition and do some things that you might, want to test out in a race that is pretty low risk as far as trying something new. And who knows, you might cross the 100-mile mark and get a cute buckle. And if you don't, that's okay too, because you're out there with these kids and you're inspiring them.
You mentioned Corona, California a couple times
Mhm.
where the event takes place, but 100 Mile Club is not just in California, correct? It's
Uh-huh.
across the
Correct.
country.
Yeah, yeah. We have schools in all 50 states. We have schools in Mexico. Um, we have we did have some schools in Japan. I'm not sure. We have some schools in Canada, but mostly United States. But we have schools in all 50 states at this point.
And
Yeah.
when you say you have schools, can you explain to the audience what that means?
Yeah. So what that means is a school signs up, um, and it can be one teacher in one classroom at one school, or it can be the entire school. We call it a 100 mile club school if there's just one teacher running it in her classroom or one teacher that has a club at the school, or one coach or whatever. Um, some of our schools, it's a school-wide program. Some of them it's a club. Some of our schools that we have are a teacher like me who's just kind of trying something new, and that's what teachers do. Teachers
Yeah.
do what's right for their kids. So we may have, like, I have a teacher that was taught at my school last year and she moved to Oregon. And then she's teaching literally on the border between Oregon and California. And so she's bringing the program to her school. And we fundraise to help sponsor her class. So hopefully next year we'll have more participants. But I always remember this program started in one classroom with one teacher at one school, and that's how it should grow, right? You take a teacher and you go, let's try this out at your school, and then another teacher goes, do you think I could do that next year with you? And you go, yeah, you do it, whatever, if you want to. And I would say the easiest way to get people to do what you want them to do is to tell them they don't have to if they don't want to. And then you just keep doing great things and having fun, and then people are like, "Hey, I wanna do that." I'm like, "Okay, come on, let's go." So it's very much kind of a backwards way of recruiting schools because it's here for them. We have different programs, we have a free program, like, it's really a no excuse situation.
My word for the past 6 to 8 months has been perspective,
Mm,
and I'd love to get your perspective on one teacher, one classroom
yeah.
to international program. Like, when you sit back at night, right, and you're thinking about all this stuff, do you just say sometimes say to yourself, "Holy cow, how did we
Yeah,
get here?"
yeah, yeah. There have been moments in this journey where I've had people reach out to me or things happen that you just kind of have to go with it. We won a big award during the Obama administration. We got flown to DC. We, of course, the entrepreneur spirit of the entrepreneur award. A lot of it happened unbeknownst to me. Like we got the state of California gold medal physical fitness award at one point, and it was just all of those things that were happening. We got a call from various companies and organizations who wanted to work with us, and some of them we told them no, and some of them we told them yes. And we were very careful about how we scaled, because once you're discovered as doing something good and possibly lucrative and possibly something that can get a product in front of a lot of people, you have to be very careful who you align yourself with. And so it got crazy for a minute. Um, but we got here one school at a time. We got here one teacher at a time. When I say teachers make the world go round, I mean it. Teachers are the best people in the world. They are. They
You're not
are.
gonna get an argument from me.
They are. I don't know any human who can multitask the way a teacher does, who can assess a room the way a teacher can assess a room and figure out what needs to happen to make a kid be the best thing that they can be, to be the best person that they can be. And teachers do that all day, every day, 5 days a week, and that's why we need our summers because when we're done, like, sometimes we're just catatonic in the bed because we're so overstimulated that, we just need to, like, decompress, and my poor husband, sometimes I'm like, "No, no, I'm just gonna stay right here." So watching the program grow, I mean, I was still teaching at the time that it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And at one point, we won a big award, and, there were news cameras at the school every day, and it was like a joke. It was like, "Oh, NBC is here. Oh, ABC is here. Oh, who's this? Oh, who's this camera crew? Or they're going to see Kara." Like, it was crazy. But I think for me, just keeping that focus on, we are here to do this thing for our kids. And let me tell you my story so that you might want to do it too. Because watching a kid cross the finish line of 100 miles is, I can't even, it just makes me, it never gets old. And I've been doing this for 34 years.
I've been an adjunct teacher, college level for a number of years now, and it never gets old when I get a message on LinkedIn from a
Yeah,
student that I haven't spoken to in 3, 4 years, and they ask me to help and, can
yeah,
advice and, because I've always been open with them and ask them, "Look, if you need help, like, talk to me. Like, it's
yeah.
okay. I will do what I can to help you." Um, and these are 18 to 22-year-olds, and so I can only imagine when you're dealing with 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders
Mhm,
who, might be shy to ask for help, but then
mhm,
they go through your program and
mhm.
you can see the confidence ticking forward,
You
right?
can
And
see
all
it, like, it
yeah,
goes pink, and you're like, "Okay,
yeah.
okay." And they'll say, like, they'll come to me and they'll go, "I just need to do 7 more laps and I'm at my 50." And they call it my 50, my 75, my 100, my 125. My goal is 250 this year. And it's like, I love that. Like,
And it's
it
ownership.
never gets old. They own their success and they own their failure
Correct.
too.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, when we put those, okay, have a medal, have this year's medal. This is the first time I think it's been shown. But yeah, so this is their little gold medal. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can get it to work. Where's my,
A little bit higher.
whatever, so awkward.
It's okay.
So this is the back, and I don't know if you can see it. Some little guys running. That was drawn by a
Yep.
kid. And then on the other side, it's our logo. And now
Awesome.
I got fingerprints all over it. And then it has some life skills around it that are from the Pyramid of Success from Coach John Wooden. I told you that I was we're a basketball family, and I knew Coach Wooden from the time I was 5. And, I think he's the one that taught me about personal success and personal success and the feeling that you get when you've done the best you can with what you're capable of doing. And that really is folded very much into the journey of 100 miles. And I think, as adult people who do this thing too, we talk about personal best. Even if you don't finish a race, you're like, I did everything I could. And I feel good about my decision to stop, which is hard, but it's good.
Do you guys collect letters or get emails from teachers across the country who are like, I had a student who, on day one couldn't break through to them. And then, at the end of the year, after having done how many ever miles they did, has just been, changed that
Yes.
student's life. And has
Yes.
that student's life also impacted their parents' life as well?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it happens so often that we used to joke about, like, miracles happen every day at 100 Mile Club. Magic happens every day at 100 Mile Club. We'll get these letters and, you don't get desensitized to them, but you're like, oh, here's another kid who got a scholarship. Oh, here's another kid who, here's a high school kid who's coming to the elementary school to run with a child who's blind. Like, of course that's what's going to happen because that's how cool kids are. And so it happens all the time. I could tell you stories all day. We could do this for hours, and I could tell you story after story after story about kids and adults and kids going on and getting scholarships whose parents had no clue that they could run. Last weekend, on Saturday, I went to one of my students that I taught in 5th grade, virtually actually during the pandemic when I returned to teaching, who was running in his very first track meet ever. And he's a student with autism. And I went and met his mom there. And because I'm a teacher in the district where the invitational was, I was able to kind of walk him down onto the field and I wasn't his mom, which was good. And I helped him get his shoes on. And I was like, okay, buddy, it's time to stretch. He ran the 100 and he ran the 200. At the same time, I was getting a text message from another student, a parent of a student who was running in Marietta, which is down towards San Diego. And I was like, hey, are you guys here? So I was trying to see if they were at the same invitational. And they said, no, we're in Marietta at a different one. But, and my son's running this and this and this. And these are parents who never, ever, ever were involved in anything like this before. And so they're just kind of following their child. And then a lot of these kids end up going to college and getting scholarships. And it's happened infinite numbers. I can't even tell you more than fingers on my hand. I mean, it's been 30 years. So it's good stuff. And it's awesome.
It makes me emotional to hear these things because, success breeds success. So a child goes through this process, they're successful, they take that to college, they take that to their personal life. And we're singing unicorns and rainbows here. And the one thing that keeps popping into my head is why wouldn't a school participate in this program? Like what's the downside for a school to not participate? I get it financially. There are things that are there. I got that. But
yeah, I mean, we have a free program, so there's really no excuse.
Okay.
It's a commitment on the part of the adults. Like if you put this challenge in front of a kid and then you decide that you're bored with it halfway through the year, you will break hearts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And
so if you're going to commit to this, you have to commit to it as the adult who's providing the opportunity for these kids to earn miles. It cooks down to about 3 miles a week. So we're not asking for tons, but give these kids an opportunity to move their bodies. And that's something that needs to happen throughout the school day anyway. This is not physical education, but it can be part of a physical education program where, do your warm-up laps. We can time your mile. We're going to do other things because, 100 Mile Club is not PE. It's part of a physical activity program, which is part of PE, right?
Yep.
So when we ask teachers to do this, we're asking them to understand that these kids take this journey very seriously. So is that a downside? I don't think it's a downside, because these kids have very high expectations of you as their coach and of themselves as a runner. Like, I'm doing this thing. The other day this is a perfect example. I could tell you stories all day. Um, our school is under major construction. They're adding 4 new classrooms. They have, barriers everywhere. There's trucks coming in and out. It's crazy. And we run Friday mornings at 7:45, period. The only time we don't do it is if it's raining, just because not safe, wet children, whatever. And so we will cancel if it's raining. However, we showed up on Friday morning, and oh my gosh, I've never seen so many giant semi trucks on a campus in my life. And I had probably 60 kids at the gate. Like, but me and I were running, and my other coach looked at me. She's like, "What are we going to do?" And I was like, "It's all good. Hold, please." And I ran into my classroom, and I got 4 cones, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. And I go, "Have I measured this? No. Are we going to run it? Yes. I'll measure it later." And so those kids ran in a 0.1 loop
Oh, wow.
for 30 minutes. And because they were like, "I'm here. I need to do 5, and I'm supposed to get my 50 today, and I need to take my picture, and I'm here, and it's Friday, and I have my shirt, and I'm ready." And there's no way I'm going to tell them no.
Right.
And so you have to make it work for them.
I think the beauty of what you just said to me about point one and
Mhm.
then 30 minutes really goes back to perspective, right?
Mhm.
Because you could run, pick a number, a 2 mile loop, and it might take you 30 minutes. And if you run a 0.1 mile loop, you're still just running 30 minutes. It's the
Right.
perspective piece right there.
Right.
That comes into play big time. How are the students tracking their mileage when they're in different classrooms and different things? Are they like emailing you or the teacher
No.
that whatever school they're
No.
doing? Like, how is this happening?
No. So we have a company that we partner with called trackthemiles.com. And it's an online platform where kids can track the teachers input their miles. I input miles for run group on Fridays. We don't use electronic scanning or anything like that, because then that's a whole thing about forgetting your barcode, and it's like not having your bib right at a race. You're like, "I don't have my bib. Can you just put it in manually?" I mean, how many times have you done that? I know I've done that a few times. And so, or I changed my shorts and I don't have my number. I forgot to change my number off my shorts, right? So we just use for run group, we just use little pieces of paper, and we have 1 to 25, and we just mark the number, and then we put the student's name, their teacher, and then one of my instructional assistants will input all of the data on Fridays. And bless her heart, her name's Veronica. Thank you, Veronica. We love you. Um, and then one of my other assistants comes out and helps track miles, and so it's really a team effort, and people come out because they want to be part of it.
I got to tell you, so I've spoken to you now. I've
Hmm.
spoken to
Maddie.
Madison Nakamura, yes, and I've spoken to BJ, and there has not been one moment within that 3 to 4 hours of conversation of negativity, of this is too much work, of we're not appreciated. Like it is just full on positivity,
Mhm.
smiles, happiness. It's hard. We got it. Running 100 miles is hard.
Mhm.
Whether you do it again over the course of 10 months or you do it over the course of 14 hours, it's a hard
Right.
endeavor. But the team that you have around you and the people that are participating in this have been nothing but fantastic to me and my organization.
Mm.
So, and I'm a stranger. So I can only imagine what it's like when they're working with teachers and students and just the love and the camaraderie. And I'm going to help you get to your goal. And we're going to check your 25 miles, then your 50 miles, and your 75 miles, and your 100 miles. Like, not to make this a kumbaya moment, but it's a kumbaya moment, right? Like there's just a lot of good happiness here, and it's something the world needs.
Yeah, it's good vibes. And the people that I call it getting it, like, you get it, Jason, you get it. And people who get it don't leave the organization. BJ, she was a PTA mom at the school I worked at. That's how I met BJ. She's been with me forever. And when I stepped down and went back to teaching, well, whatever. I told you earlier that I had late stage colon cancer. When I received my diagnosis, I was also given an end of life care plan. at the same time, they're like, you have cancer, and also here's your end of life care plan. And I was like, holy cow, I think I might die. What if something happens to 100 Mile Club? I've got to make sure that there are people in this world that care enough about this organization that if I die, it continues. And I got scared because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. And so at that point, I kind of made the decision to step back a little bit and let other people take the paperwork reins and the organization reins and the, making sure that that the wheels continue to turn. And so now I get to do all the great things like the podcasts and the shows and the interviews, and I get to hand out the buckles at the ultra, and for me that's where I want to be, because this organization is so much bigger than me now, and as it should be, right? I mean, there's a thing called founder syndrome that you have to be very careful of as a founder of something, an organization, and you don't want it ever to become about you necessarily. You want it to become about the mission and the kids and the organization, and have it move forward. I mean, granted, I'm the face of the organization. I do the interviews, whatever, but it's not about me. And it's about Joe Nakamura. It's about Maddie. It's about BJ. It's about every, the 4,000 coaches that we have around the country that are doing this thing, who get it, who I've never met. That's humbling. That's humbling. So if I were to drop off the face of the earth tomorrow, this organization would continue.
And I totally understand that. When I started this company 4-ish years ago, I didn't want to be the face of the organization. I wanted the stories of the athletes that we were telling be the face of the organization. The mother who is, running in between her kids napping, or
Right.
the person who's coming back from alcohol and drug abuse and found triathlon, any number of those things that everyday athletes are dealing with. That's what I wanted front and center. And I've been uber fortunate. Scott commented on Facebook earlier today that I've known Scott for a number of years now, and he's one of those advocates for me. He talks to everybody about our company and introduces me to great people like yourself, who then introduces me to BJ, who then introduces me to Maddie. And I see that Maddie's parents running store, We Run Republic, has joined us on Instagram, and has a couple of comments, all smiles, hey, let's go. And I think that's the beauty of this stuff is the domino effect of being able to connect with people in all different shapes, forms, and fashions, so that we can continue to spread the love. Exactly.
It's people.
100%.
Always about people.
Always.
And Americans are funny because they don't come together unless they have a reason to. It's not like Italy where you go to the piazza on Thursdays and drink wine and dance for no reason. It doesn't happen here. We have to have a reason. So fine, let's run 100 miles together.
It does in my life. I'm telling you right now, I have always said I will just build a bigger table. Let's go hang out. Let's dance. Let's break bread. Let's have coffee. Like Emily Holland, who we've had on the show previously, I chatted with her last week, and she said, man, you're a hustler. And I'm like, no, I really just like talking to people, and I don't mind talking to everybody. Like if you're the person, squeezing the cantaloupe in the grocery store, I'm probably going to ask you, is it ripe today? Right. Where most people would probably just walk right on by. I just love hearing people's stories and connecting to people and forming those deeper bonds and connections. We're running out of time, and I need to get to our rapid fire food questions. But last time, Kara, where can people get more information about 100 Mile Club, whether they're parents or maybe teachers and administrators at schools? Where can they go to get more information?
So obviously the website, 100mileclub.com. You can always find me on Instagram. I'm always doing 100 Mile stuff and posting things about the kids at my school. 100 Mile Club has all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, everything, every social media platform we've got. So connect with us on Instagram. That's always kind of a great way to go. Facebook has some good stuff too. But you can reach out to me if you feel more comfortable reaching out, to me first, and I'll connect you. We're the easiest organization to get a hold of. We are people first. I never wanted it to be, fill out this form and we'll get back to you kind of thing. You pick up the phone. If you're a pick up the phone kind of person, pick up the phone and call us and say, hey, I'm a teacher in South Carolina and I want to start this program. Done. Right?
Yep. And it's 100mileclub.com, folks. Make sure you check that out. And if you want to get in touch with Kara, it's at Kara Lubin on Instagram, KaraLubin. So with that being said, Kara, you ready for our rapid fire food questions?
If my kids are listening to this, they're going to laugh because we are so strict in my room about what we eat. So they're going to be like, you talked about candy. You talked about candy on the internet. I'm like, yes, I did. So, okay, let's go.
Here we go. Oreos. Are you a fan of the old school Oreo, the double stuff Oreo, the new thin Oreo, or the Cakester Oreo?
I'm a double stuffed girl all the way.
Straight up double stuff. So how do you eat your
Regular
Oreo?
stuff? No. Hi. Thank you. Thank you, Boog. That was my son. Thank you, Boogie. Okay, love you. Okay, bye. That was my son.
It's okay. We're a live show. These things happen.
Hi. Thanks, Boog. So what do? I dip them in milk. But then I don't drink the milk. I just dip them in milk.
Oh, interesting. So you let the cookies crumble in there and then you just pass it off to your
No,
kid?
I have a friend that does that. And I'm always like, ew, okay. But yeah.
Licorice, red or black?
Red.
Twizzlers or Red Vines?
Twizzlers, the lemon ones.
Oh, new introduction to the game. I'll have to go.
Middle inside.
I need to go research.
I have a lot of opinions about candy for someone who's not.
Yeah, fantastic. Peeps. Well, then, are Peeps a real candy, or are they just stale marshmallows covered in gold glitter?
No. No.
Is candy corn a real candy, or is it just earwax covered in sugar?
It's fun to just eat the one color at a time, but only like one of them. So you go, and then you eat the white, and then you eat the next color, and then you eat the next color. That's it. Only one though.
A handful of candy corn is going to take you 3 days to eat if you do it that way.
No. Again, no. But one when you just. That's it. What?
Creamy or crunchy peanut butter?
Creamy.
How do you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? And before you answer, I'll give you the examples. Do you put peanut butter on one slice of bread and jelly on the other and then smash them together? Do you put peanut butter on one slice of bread, jelly on top of the peanut butter, and then slap the other slice of bread over the top?
You ready?
Yeah.
I put butter and then jelly on one piece, because then if you put butter, then it won't soak into the bread and get mushy. And then I put peanut butter on the other side, and then I do that. That's what I do.
I love it.
That's what I do.
So now that you have the peanut butter and jelly sandwich put together, do you eat it like you just attack it, or do you cut it into 2 rectangles, 2 triangles, 4 squares, or 4 triangles?
Why did you ask me this question when I actually thought about this the other day? I just eat it. I just pick it. And most sandwiches, I'm a diagonal girl. Because I like the pointy part. But for peanut butter, I just pick it up and eat it.
So then do you eat it like corn on the cob? You go from one corner across, or do you go straight to the middle and then you just work your way around the whole thing?
Like I just eat it. And then if I get jelly right here, then I know I've done a good job.
I told you at the beginning, like I started a company based on stories in endurance sports. I could have made it about food and
then my
just as
best
much
food
fun.
I ever had at an aid station was a peanut butter and jelly, and then they put bacon in it, like really super duper crispy bacon in there. I don't know. Maybe I was just real hungry, but it was so good.
I raced Lake Sonoma 50 a number of years ago. It was so hot. I got to one aid station. I sat there for about 40 minutes, and the peanut butter and jelly square, the bread was toasted because it had been sitting out all day, and it was so hot.
But it was
no, it was awful.
Sometimes it's good. You're like, that was the grossest, best thing I've ever had.
That happens a lot. Yes, at ultras.
Yeah.
Is red velvet cake a real flavor, or is it just chocolate cake dressed up to go to the prom?
it kind of goes with Peeps. Like, it's a big no for me. Like, that's a lot of food dye, and I just wonder what's going on inside my body once I eat that much red food coloring. And someone who's had colon cancer, like, having it come out red is
Yeah, you don't
scary.
want that.
So I just don't even dance with that cake.
Favorite flavor of ice cream is?
Chocolate malted crunch from Thrifty.
Whoa.
Double chocolate malted crunch, it's called.
Is it like
It's so
Whoppers, like chopped Whoppers?
N
Remember that candy?
those are just little malt balls. They're like malt balls, and then it's chocolate ice cream, but it's kind of like chocolate. Like, it's not very dark, and then it's got tiny little chocolate shavings in it, and then these little malt balls.
I'm gonna have to go check this out.
It's so good, and it's hard to find. They're always out of it, and so if I find it, I bring it home, and then
Do you even bother putting it in a bowl? You just take it spoon straight out of the carton?
No, I do. I do. I'm kind of my weakness is a bowl of ice cream at night. I don't know if that's a Southern thing because my family's all from Oklahoma. I mean, I was born in California, but they're like, "Have a bowl of ice cream at night." I do that, and it's not good. Anyway,
Favorite candy bar is?
Reese's.
Nice. Have
Yeah.
you seen the new one that has peanut butter? It's a peanut butter and jelly Reese's. One has strawberry jam and one has grape jam.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, Jason.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it. Like, if I wanted a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I'd eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Have you seen the one that has potato chips in it, though?
I actually put potato chips in my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
There's a Reese's cup that has potato chips in it.
That I can get behind.
Oh,
It's kind of like, there's an ice cream flavor that's like that, right? It's like mud something or other that has like chips and potato chips and pretzels and chocolate
That sounds
chips and
so good. Money
yeah, it's
Bunny
like
or something.
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that was my favorite Reese's. Like, if I find those, I always buy them. They're hard to find.
Chocolate chip or oatmeal raisin cookie?
Oh God, I love oatmeal raisin cookies.
Yes.
I think I'm the only. Do you like them?
Oh, love them
They're my favorite cookie.
by far.
It's embarrassing because people are like, "What's your favorite cookie?" I'm like, "I really like an oatmeal raisin." And people are like, "Ew."
No, my
They're
favorite.
so good.
I'm 51 years old, but I've been 13 going on 81 years old my whole entire life because I love raisins. I
Yeah,
love Raisin Bran cereal. I love oatmeal raisin cookies. I love raisins in my carrot cake. Like, I love raisins.
I do like raisins too. But yeah, oatmeal raisin is. I'm a fan.
You said you put pineapple on your pizza. What about pineapple on a burger?
I don't really eat burgers. I eat chicken sandwiches. I'll eat
What
chicken.
about grilled pineapple on a chicken sandwich?
Sometimes, but it squirts out when you try to bite it. The pineapple squirts out, so then it's disappointing. And so there are consequences to it, but it's a good bite if you can get it and not have it squirting out.
It becomes a 6 napkin sandwich because it's everywhere.
Yeah. No, I like a little chicken with a little pineapple on it, a little grill
There
situation.
you go.
Yeah, it's delicious.
2 more. Tuna, egg, or potato salad?
Oh my God, tuna is egg salad, potato salad. I don't know if maybe potato salad, but don't put onions.
And don't put raisins in the potato salad either. I love raisins, but not there.
No. I like a potato salad, but sometimes people put a lot of onions in it, and I feel like it takes over everything. Don't put so many onions.
Last question. Thank you for enduring the nonsense that we have at the end of our show.
It's fun.
A tray of brownies has been cooling on the counter. Do you go to the corner? Do you go to the edge? Or do you go straight to the middle for the ooey gooey?
I'm a corner girl.
You
Especially if
need
it's
something to hold on to, right?
Yeah. And then I go to the middle, and then I go to the end, and usually I eat a whole bunch, like a whole row.
You just cut them in like a tic-tac-toe board, and then you just pick
Yeah,
one out.
and then it becomes the thing where you're walking past, and you're like, it's fine. And you just you kind of continue on down the hallway, and then you come back, and it's fine. And then you cut another piece, and then you go the other way, and pretty soon you've eaten 2 rows of brownies, and it's fine.
You just leave the knife in the tray too. Like, there's no point in cleaning the knife.
Could be a fork, honestly. Like, just give me the fork. It's bad. And then people are like, "What happened to the brownies?" I'm like, "I don't know what happened to the brownies." Do you know what happened to the brownies?
Unless they got cameras in the house, they can't prove you ate it. That's all I
Which
know.
we do not have. I don't know, maybe the dog.
We have a shout out to you from Band Mom Brew on Instagram. She says, "Love you, Kara."
I love
And
you.
and Cheryl, I don't have an answer for Reese's putting peanut butter and jelly into a candy bar like that. I
I
don't
feel
have
like
an
it's
answer for you.
unacceptable. I just feel like it's unacceptable. It's like doing too much. Like, stop doing so
Yes.
much. Like, just give me the Reese's, right?
So I told you I'm an adjunct teacher and I
Mhm.
teach marketing, and we can all blame Howard Moskowitz because he devised the idea of you don't need to make the perfect X, you need to make the perfect X's. In other words, Kara might like peanut butter and jelly Reese's and Jason doesn't, so why not make the peanut butter? And that's why when you go to the grocery store today, there's 97 varieties of Oreos and 400 varieties of potato chips. It's because they're making the perfect X for the target market.
Right.
That's my marketing class for the day, folks.
But
Thanks.
then you have something like In-N-Out Burger where they're just like, you know what? We're gonna make hamburgers and French fries and milkshakes, and if you don't like it, that's fine.
Yeah, you can expand by adding onion rings, please.
Right. Yeah. It's very, very opposite, but also they're almost
You know what you're getting.
yeah, you know what you're getting. Same thing with, 100 Mile Club. We got our
That's
shirts,
right.
incentives, we got our medals. This is what we do.
Kara, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time. For those of you who are just joining us, this will be on our YouTube channel by tomorrow and will be on our website on March 11th or 12th. But we will be sharing it throughout the rest of the couple of weeks because you'll also be able to find it on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Have a great night. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday on the Run, Try, Bike Fireside Chat.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Jason. It has been an absolute pleasure, and what a pleasure it was to meet and get to know you. So we're friends now, just by the way, so you know.
100%. Thank you.
Yes, we are. Thank you.